is going on, Degen Nation? Kenny Kim here, bringing you another Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast this week for the Waste Management Phoenix Open as usual. I am here with everybody's favorite Canadian, Tyler Tamboline. Tyler, what is up?
What is up, my friend, my Korean friend? We got Canadians and Koreans week here. We always talk about it when we get down to the desert, so going to get into it. We are going to be talking the Waste Management Phoenix Open. I will be there this week with the entire Ship It Nation crew. And speaking of Ship It Nation, I want to remind you guys very quickly off the top, this show is brought to you and presented by ShipItNation.com. You can use code Mayo to get 10% off any package over there. Another huge PGA week. We had another member pick up a Fantasy Golf World Championship seat. We had a $30,000 and $20,000 day in the showdown streets over the weekend, even though the tournament got cut short. Hoop won $10,000. Some members won $5,000, $6,000, $1,200. The Discord was full of it. So check out ShipItNation.com. We got NBA, NHL, MMA is 10 more straight weeks in a row. We've got MLB just around the corner, but lots going on. Kenny, interesting week. I mean, the PGA knew about the weather all week. We waited around for it, like just some ridiculous stuff. There was LIV Golf we could talk about on Sunday. There was, we'll take some hits on that, I'm sure, but that's fine. The Wyndham Clark win with the betting scenario of like you could bet on him after, but it's obviously voided if you bet it after the round ends. Like almost all the books have that in the rules. So it's just really interesting stuff we could talk about. Where did you want to start from this past
Let's
week?
start with the event itself. I mean, Wyndham Clark 60. Shout out to Vernon Maxwell, at Vernon Maxwell, one of my boys on Twitter. His name is really not Vernon Maxwell. Let's just say he needs to keep his identity secret because of his job. But he actually picked Wyndham Clark. Send me a tweet early in the week picking Wyndham Clark and 91. So congrats to Vernon Maxwell over there. It was a good win by him. I mean, the 60 was pretty incredible. Leaving it short on to get the 59, it was sort of weird. I mean, usually if you got a chance at 59, you're going to at least blow it up all by, right?
Had a bogey too already, so
yeah, not leave it like 6 inches short. But a great win by him coming in from nowhere. I mean, you could see it when these courses are not. There's no weather affecting them. It's pretty freaking easy. We've had some low scores there. That by itself was the course record at Pebble Beach. I don't know if it counts for real since it is lift, clean, in place. I don't know how that works in the record books. But it is the lowest score on that course in its history from the tips. So, I mean, kudos to him. He's been playing pretty well. And at 90-1, man, I feel like I missed out on that. That's something I probably should have caught before the event came out. I mean, other guys, it was pretty funny. I mean, Rory started out strong, shit the bed. Xander, he shit the bed. Xander was my fade of the week. So my fade of the week's have been pretty fucking money. I don't think anyone's finished at least 3 MCs. And no one's finished top 30 in the 5 weeks that I've been doing the fade of the week this year over on Gup's Corner. But what everyone really wanted was to see Sunday play. It couldn't happen. I mean, it looked like the fucking apocalypse. Like if you look at California on like a weather map, it was just like red, like danger, like the whole state, danger. I mean, like you're looking at blizzards in the mountain, or like 90 mile per hour winds with blizzard conditions in the mountains. You were looking at tornado weather, tornado-like winds in the north and in the south, torrential rain in LA. It's just California's getting the worst of it. For some reason, this past week, there's no way they could have played. And like there were so many trees down and like stuff like that they couldn't play Monday either out of safety. I understand that. Now, what they probably should have done is, since all of us knew this shit was going to happen on Sunday, was figure out a way to get this event finished. Either by playing the first 2 rounds as quick as possible, or I don't know, 36 on Saturday, something. But they didn't do it, and it really was to their disadvantage with LIV this past week. What did you think of the PGA event before we get into LIV?
Yeah, so a couple of things that were good. I mean, however you get the record, it's kind of annoying. I know when people quote that stuff and go with like, remember the Masters in November and stuff. Like the records are the records. They happen. They're only playing the same course everybody else is. So congrats to Wyndham, not only getting the win, but obviously on getting the job done and putting up that 60. Pretty impressive with the bogey on the card, with some other ones. Now, the funny part is, I can't remember who tweeted this, but it was like they There are people making fun like, oh, he left like 3 or 4 out there. Yeah, he also made like 7 or 8 that were ridiculous. Like he had like 200 feet worth of putts or something. So it's like that's the thing where it does go the variance of it, the back and forth, but still is what it is. I know like some of the videos out there on Sunday, like that's why people were like, well, they could still play in the morning and they could have got some holes in. They were coming right back off. It's not really fair. We saw this at the Players a few years ago. Remember, like Brooks and Xander went out, popped a couple shots in the water, and they're like, fuck this. We're out of here. And they shut them down off the course. It's not really fair. Those people just got absolutely screwed. The others didn't. They should have just played 36 on Saturday. We knew about it. There was enough daylight, to my understanding. They go out early, threes, off both pins. We're good. Or off both tees. We're good. And then roll it out. Like, let's see what that looks like. But they did not do that. And then acted like we were waiting around till Monday. That's the other part that made it even worse. Gotta be for the players. You got guys like Benny Ann talking about it on Twitter. Like, if I DQ, it's because my phone didn't get charged. Like, power's out. Let us know what's going on. And I think a lot of that is what led to them.
Well, it was good that they let it out on Sunday night. It did that on Sunday night. So I got to give them to that because, I mean, it was probably like 7 p.m. local time over there when they released it. It was like 10:30 on the East Coast.
Right,
so,
but I think that played a part in it. I don't think they were going to until eventually it was like, dudes, you have to fucking tell these people something. Like, they're waiting around for what? It does not look any better tomorrow. It's a state of emergency. They're talking about the sheriffs and all this other stuff. It was like, that's why I think they finally did it. They were like, you're right. We can't just keep holding these guys hostage. Let's cut it off. So other than that, I don't think...
I got something to ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is Oberg horse-proof?
Yeah.
Because obviously, Pebble is a less than driver course. There's holes there where you cannot use a driver. You know what I'm saying? And he is the best driver in the world. You look at his scrambling, you look at his approach, and you look at his putting, not great. So you would think in an event where it's so heavily, where, the approach game is so important, that he might have a week off, finish second. Is this guy like for real? Like for real? So like
far,
he's going to be the next superstar. Like, everyone says he's going to be superstar, but everyone says that when a shiny new toy comes out and does well for a couple of months. And that happens to everybody that comes out and does well for a couple of months. I have a feeling this guy could be like the one, like the guy. Because he's competing at courses where, his biggest advantage is off the tee, and it's so muted at Pebble Beach, and he goes out there and still finishes runner-up. Yeah. Like, is he that good?
If you think so, I think you just need to blind bet him, because the course didn't matter. What I was just going to say is we brought up the example last week of Cam Young at the RBC. When Cam Young first came out, and everyone's like, there's no way he can do good at the RBC Heritage. It's like, it's a position placement. It gets rid of his driver. There's nothing he can do at this course. And he came out and got, I think he was first round leader and then finished third or something the first time he played it. I'm not comparing these two players. I'm saying we've seen it with certain talents. To your question, it's tough to say. Obviously, the guy looks incredibly well. We knew it coming out of PGAU and the way he got his card and all that stuff, and then coming out and getting the win early on, all this stuff. I honestly think, it was most likely him getting the win. That's the part I was going to say right before when you were chatting there. The win. I don't think Wyndham Clark was going to win this. He was coming off a career round, which was insane. He was playing great. That's fine. But I mean, it wasn't like Oberg wasn't right there on his ass ready to go in. It was one stroke back.
And it's Oberg now. He changed his name again.
Yes.
This past week.
And the PGA Tour deleted
he said it was supposed to be Ober.
Yeah.
Now he told Trevor Immelman this past weekend it's Oberg. I think he's trolling us. He's trolling us.
Because
I have no idea how to say his name now.
The college video, he said the truth. In the first, it was like Ober. And then he said, but Americans will call me Ludwig Aberg or whatever. Like he was, or like Ludwig Aberg or Ludwig Aberg. You put that with the Aberg. Yeah. Then the PGA Tour deleted this video. I went back to find it because somebody else asked about it. And I was going to just post it. Like, he just did this the other day, and they deleted the video where they was like, we'd cleared the air. It's Ludwig Oberg, and that's what he's going to go by.
Ober. I thought it was Ober.
No, it's Oberg. He said on the video Oberg, and that's
what he told Trevor Immelman this week.
Yeah, he's trolling.
And how to say it? I don't know, man. I don't know.
The
guy could ball. He's incredible. Yeah. I don't know why he's not playing this week. He should win. This is like his shit right here.
No, nobody's playing this week, though. We'll get to it. But Finau decided not to play. Again, Bradley.
Well, it's because next week is another elevated event. So you're going to be playing 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row, with these elevated events coming up. Maybe they decided this is the one to take a break on.
You guys got the confidence. I'll tell you what. Usually Finau is the guy that just goes and plays where he can win. And I know for sure he's fine at Genesis too. I'm not saying that. And obviously you want to win the bigger prizes. I just never frown upon it. Like if there was a, $1,000 Millie Maker this week and a 44 next week, I'd still want to be in the $1,000 Millie Maker this week because I think my chances are just as good. And it's actually maybe in some cases against a weaker field. So like I just look at it like I don't know why it is, but obviously
it takes me 10 weeks to play $444 worth of DFS. Damn, so there you go.
I only play it if I have a ticket.
Takes me 10 weeks. I bet $400 to $500 a week on DFS, $200 a week in gambling. That's how I go. Now, another question. Oh, and also, good week this past week. Cascade Cornerstone, the Hubbard finished fourth. JT finished sixth. Easy cash, no sweat. I love those weeks. 70% return on investment. You got to love it. Now, here's the big question for you, Tambo. Is Matthew Pavon the next Tiger Woods?
I knew you were going to bring this guy up, and I was talking about our guy there a minute ago versus him because, he was up there. Again, Pavon. But I don't, it's just, when you're hot, you're hot. And that's the other thing you got to worry about to your question.
Well, here's the thing. Since he's gotten his tour card, he has never shot over par. Mm-hmm. Ever. Not one round.
He's been very good. He's been very good.
Yeah. And he got his card in the fall. So it's not like it's these few events. I'm pretty sure he got his card and played a bunch in the fall, if I'm not mistaken.
He's been very good
remember.
Coming over. He was good. He was good on the DP World.
And I'm joking, of course. He's not Tiger Woods, but the guy is playing fucking unbelievable. Yeah. Like out of the blue. Like this Frenchman. I wonder how hyped the French are getting. I don't know. I mean, the French will get hype over golf. I don't know. They haven't had a winner on the PGA Tour since 1907. So maybe not. But this guy's straight balling, coming in third again. Aaron Cole in the top 15. I think his MC was an outlier because the course was so long. There's definitely some good rounds, and there was some Detry coming up top 5. Looks like any type of non-elevated event that he's in, probably got a good chance. He's been playing really, really good golf. Scheffler doing his thing, Burns doing his thing. Kawa, it was all right. Griot was up there for a while. Had a pretty shitty Saturday. It was a fun watch. I enjoyed it, but let's talk about the guys that won the weekend. You have to admit, the LIV golfers, LIV. I mean, that event on Sunday was basically exactly what they needed. No competition. I'm really curious to see how many people watch. I don't think it's going to be like a crazy amount that makes people like jaw drop. But I mean, I'm sure it's going to be more than normal. Well, when did they get like 50,000, 80,000 barely? If they get 100,000 people watching, it's probably a great week, right? So, if they get like 300,000, it's got to be a pretty good feeling for those guys. I thought it was good golf. I mean, the leaderboard was sick. Now, of course, there are things that I could do without. The music is so annoying. Like either get rid of it or don't make it the background that you hear from like some type of speaker on the course. Make it feed it into the broadcast in like a lower volume or something like that. Because it's just like ooms, ooms, ooms in the background. That's all you hear. It's fucking annoying, right? Now, if you could hear like the whole song, then it's still annoying, but not probably quite as annoying. You can, fuck around with the volume a little bit when it comes down to it. But I mean, that definitely has to fucking go. The guys golfing, I mean, we're out there watching, and what us golf fans like is what pros can do amazing things with a stick and a white ball. And that's still the same thing over at LIV, even if they've made $500 million. The reason why we like golf is because we like to see people do amazing things with a stick and a ball. They still do amazing things with a stick and a ball over there. I mean, it's definitely the truth. These guys can ball. And a couple of other things that probably I'm not a big fan of. I'm not the biggest fan of the shotgun start. Okay, that makes it really hard to follow at the end. Now it's been better now. When they bring up the little person whose turn it is, they say how many holes he has left. Because I mean, Sergio was done and like Rahm had like 3 holes left, or Nima had like 3 holes left. I don't like that. I know that's the way it is, but I don't like the fact that I just don't like the shotgun start. I'm not a fan of it. But LIV did say that they're going to introduce every shot by every golfer. That you can watch every shot by every golfer. My guess is the only way they can make that logistically possible is if they keep it with a shotgun start. That would just be a guess of mine. So if we can get every shot by every golfer for LIV, and it has to be shotgun start, I will succeed to that. I will be like, okay, fine, let's go ahead and do that. What'd you think of the event, Tambo?
I thought it was great. I really did. Like the ending of it, it's not like something, I guess I will admit all the other stuff. Like the reason people are watching it was because Sunday and no other golf. We know that. The YouTube
I wouldn't have watched it. I would not have put it on. I would not have put it on one of my main TVs. It would have been like on the third TV.
Yeah,
you know
I would have had it on the background. I still enjoyed it. Like obviously we had a decent leaderboard. I wanted to see
it was better on the background with no sound.
Could Rom win his first event? I wanted to see for sure. So like all these stuff that I'm checking out down the stretch, definitely reasons to watch it. I will say though, the broadcast was phenomenal. Like as far as everything that goes with it, the music, like you said, can go. Everyone said the same thing though. It's true. It can go. And guess what? It can go. Like they're allowed to adjust everything. They could add a fourth day. They could, as an extra round, they could get rid of some of the music. They can do whatever they want if they have to do it. Right now, they're rolling with what they got, but I was fine with it. Saw a ton of golf shots down the stretch.
So many golf shots.
Which we know.
So many golf
and we love that. That's part of it. The playoff was cool in the dark. The one thing I said was like the fun part of them maybe not giving a shit. I do think they do still care. We saw it, and I will say the one thing I pointed out, threw it up on my X account last night with Rom. I just saw this in the corner of my eye watching the TV, was he went over to like congratulate Sergio on making the playoff type thing after he was out. And it was very cold. It was for, his boy, his main hero, like they said. Like he went over, he was shook. He was doing it because it was the nice thing to do and moved on. I'll also say the team aspect, which we could probably spend a couple minutes on, two notes. The one note is the, like, whatever account it is, flushing it or whatever on X, it always just posts this dumb shit. Like, they're so obsessed with it. They're like, okay, this guy was not really, besides he literally did hype his team up with his words and said how good, some of those guys were. That's fine. But he was so shook. I've never seen, we talk about Rahm all the time and how good of a speaker he was. And, Rahm versus Rory on the microphone when he was on the PGA Tour and all this stuff. He was fumbling his words like crazy. Obviously, the individual part matters way more to him. The other side of the coin with the team stuff, everyone keeps saying the team stuff doesn't do it for me, and I get it because it is tough. I think they need it, though, because if they're going to go that avenue of trying to be like a soccer team or a cricket team or whatever they're trying to do with it to make it as a valuable team, I get that. But what they need to do is to separate it. And what I think they should do, they already play a limited number of events when compared to PGA Tour. So why not have 4 miniature Ryder Cup style events throughout the year? And it's not going to be the same, but just a similar style to it at certain, maybe the best of the best courses that they can get, or the best of the best crowds that they can get in Australia. A Ryder Cup style event in a place that craves seeing these golfers out there, and you get something on the go. And again, it won't be Ryder Cup because there's all these different places, but I'm saying you'd have to come up with something team event that makes it the big deal team event. And even if it's only 3 or 4 times a year, and the rest of the year the points count towards something, and there's all this what it leads down to, there's a better way to do it, is all I'm saying. All we care about is the individual, and I don't care what anybody says. I know it was his first event. He just got his new team, so maybe he doesn't care for them, but I think it would be anybody. They have to talk up their team because it's important to them, the value of the league, all these other factors. Whether it's true or not, it's probably bullshit. The point is, Rahm was wearing it on his sleeve and fumbling it with his words. He definitely only cared about the fact that he went bogey and screwed up everything for his chance to win the individual in his first LIV event.
Yeah, they got to change the team aspect. I think they should just make it points. Like depending on where a golfer finishes, he gets this many points for his team. And then, like you said, every quarter there's some type of team event where the top 8 teams that have scored the most points go against each other in some type of team competition for more money. That doesn't have anything to do with the individual process of LIV. I think that's the way to do it. They got to separate it because I can understand why people would like it. And it's such a big deal for LIV that they're not going to get away. They're not going to get rid of it. So if they're not going to get rid of it, they got to at least make it better.
And wear the teams, wear the jerseys. I was just going to add this because you just made me think of something. But remember Justin Rose wins the Tour Championship, or whatever it was. Tiger Woods wins it. Justin Rose accepts his trophy for the FedEx Cup or vice. I couldn't remember that year, but why the PGA Tour changed that, which is still shit, and we know it, but they're working on it. But my point is, it reminds me of that. Like, there's too much shit going on at the end. Like, oh, but these guys won the team event, but they won that. Like, separate it. Let us know what team they're on. They wear their jersey with their logo. That's fair. But when you get to the team events, that's when they come together and we make a big deal about the teams. Yeah. When it's an individual event, it's very clean cut, and it's kind of cool because it's no different than it actually is. Two teammates battling down the stretch. Like, that is.
So how many events does LIV play? Like 12, 14?
No, I thought it went up, didn't it? I honestly don't remember.
It's like four. It's around 14. So, let's say we do it in. Let's make it. Let's give them 15 events a year and do the first 5. Whoever has the most points, you do a little thing. I mean, it's got to be separated. The team or just wait till the end of the year and make it one huge team competition. Yeah. Where like whoever has the most points can pick who they play in the first round or something like that. Second gets to pick or something like that. And combining the two in the same day, in the same round, I don't fuck with that. It's too much going on.
This, though. Even look at their schedule.
Okay. You can fix this.
You pick 2 of Spain, Great Britain, and Australia. You pick 2 of those for the international team event. Like, crazy crowds. Like, those are going to be awesome. And then you do the Miami one and the Vegas one. And that's like the 2 east and west coast of the States. You do in like hot spots that people might actually want to go to, like an F1 event or like something we've seen work there.
Yeah, and Spain and Great Britain, it would just
Australia's big too, I think. Like, Australia's got a long history of these golfers where, again, pick the events. I don't care. Yeah. I'm going to say that's how I would do it. And then the rest of the time, you separate it to it's straight up individual. We still know who plays for what team. There's still a points component that they receive that goes towards the finale of the season or whatever it is to stick with your theme of the team. I get that. But for the other side of it, it does not need to be every week, and it's confusing as shit the way it is. I get why they need it. I get the plan. Separate it, and it'll be better, I think.
All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to our listener league. First off, the winner of the 4-man, who's going to be in our 4-man for next week, is going to be. Where is he? You just had him. Oh, there we go. Ant Balls. Ant Balls on DK is going to be. He picked Oberg. No one picked Wendell Clark. So Ant Balls is going to go against me, Tambo, and the Listen League winner from this past week in a 4-man for prizes and for a chance to go win prizes at our Tournament of Champions next year, 2025 Sony Open. If you would like to get in on this, go ahead and leave your pick to win and your DraftKings handle on the comment section of the YouTube page. Go ahead, do that now. If you win, I'll pick you, and you get to go up against us in a 4-man, just like Ant Balls. But let's get to the winner of the Listener League for last week, Matt CM9. I think his avatar says Sin.
Shipping Nation member. Yeah, I just remember that. Yeah.
Oh, is that your shit, Sin?
Shipping Nation, baby.
Ah, that makes sense.
Send it to win it, Kenny. Send it to win it.
I was like, I understand Sin. I get that. But he won with 493 points again in a 3-day competition. That's a lot of points right there. He had Scheffler, who finished in 6. He was 70% owned. JT was one of my favorites, 34% owned. He finished in 6 as well. Eric Cole finished 14th, 25% owned. Siwoo Kim, 1% owned, finished in 14th. Windy C, the winner, 10% owned. And Kirk Kitayama, 39th, 7% owned. Tambo, what'd you think?
Yeah, I like the lineup. I think a couple things about it, just the dispersion of the ownership. Like, you're going to be heavy on JT and Cole, which you know are popular at these price tags, but then you stack Scheffler on top and then pick it up in the middle with guys like Siwoo at 1% and Kitayama at 6%. Definitely like that angle of it. And then also the no 8Ks, no 10Ks, only one 6K. Like, you're not going too aggressive, but you're skipping some pretty popular ranges for last week while still getting some of the better golfers in. And obviously it helps to have the winner in Wyndham Clark. So shout out to Matt CM9, Ship It Nation. Remember, we'll see you in the 4-man this week. And then Ant Balls reminded me of the old, what's that joke go, Kenny? It's like, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. When people try and say, well, if this, yeah, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. That's Ant Balls joining us in the 4-man, getting closest to the winner. We still, like most people, I mean, Clark was finally one that people hit. So congrats to all the Clark winners. But man, it's been a wild season. I think he opened at 100-1.
He did.
Well, you got 90s and 75s out there that people hit on, 30s after certain rounds. It was another triple-digit odds winner from the start, from the drop.
All right, so let's get to these. Let's get to this week. Let's talk about the Waste Management Phoenix Open. So the PGA Tour heads to Phoenix this week as golfers take on the stadium course at TPC Scottsdale for the Waste Management Phoenix Open. The WMPO, one of the most exciting and most attended events on tour. Expect over 500,000 fans, including Tambo, to attend this week. Now, Tambo, I do want to go next year to this event.
Yeah.
The issue I have at this event, if you guys don't know, to get to 16, right? You got to get there at 5 a.m, and then it's a mad dash. What time did you get there, Tampa? You tell me, what time did you get there?
The first year I went, I've been 3 times. The first year I went, I did run. We got there at 3 a.m. It was like barely got in because there was people there since midnight. The second year I went, the next year, I went there at 1 a.m. thinking I was slick. I was still like in the top 50 to 100, but nowhere near first at all, and still had to bust through and got there. The third year up in the skybox was nice because you don't have to run, but I will not be running this year. So you can take it back over, but I'm not going. I'm not even going to the 16th this year unless there's a hookup when I get there or something, but I'm good. I'm going to go to the DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm going to be around.
Well, that's on 16, right?
It's close. I can't remember exactly where it is. I actually think it's like 10, but the way it sets up, so we'll have to see. But the setup is still solid. There's so many good holes there.
So the reason I said this is because Tambo said you have to run. Like literally there's a line and they open the gates and like thousands of people run full speed to 16. Like I'm shocked that people like haven't died doing this. Like people getting trampled, people getting run over. If we go next year, my ass ain't running. We're going to need a suite. We're going to have to figure something out. You're going to have to win it to a GPP and get us a suite, Tambo, because my ass is not running.
You got to have the hookups, man, for the suites. They're booked so far
years old. I don't run no more unless I'm running from the police. That's the only time my ass is ever going to... Actually, I lie. I will run from the police. I will also run when other people are running. I like, if I see a group of people running and they're like running scared and I will run with them. I won't ask questions. I won't be like white people and go straight to the problem. I will run. Those are the only 2 times you will ever see me run. Ever, basically. That's what's going to happen. Like, that's it. Either I'm getting chased by the police or people are running, then I'm running. That's just in public. That's just the way it's going to work. But yeah, I definitely want to go to this event again. A great event of 500,000 spectators. Here's the thing. In the past, like I don't think Tambo's actually talked me out of this notion. But there's different arguments for and against. In the past, I've had the notion that golfers need to be thoroughly prepared for the stadium hole on 16, to get through the week. But, I've somewhat relented on this position because it's really only one hole, right, Tambo? Like, from talking to you and other people, I mean, it's not like the other holes are like crazy, rowdy, drunk people. It's like a regular golf tournament on the other 17 holes, correct, Tambo?
Well, it's like the other 15 because it's like when you get 16,
that little area there, right?
It's a hub, but you can go to like the par 3 on the front 9 and stand right next to the golfer. And there's been guys make a hole in one there in the past, and you're just standing right beside it because you're there. Like there's nobody's on that side; everyone's on the other side.
So from talking to people like you, it sounds like the other 17 holes pretty benign. Okay, let's say 15 holes, pretty benign. I think most golfers can pony up and play 16 without letting it get in their heads, since the rest of the course should be a bit quieter than most courses they see throughout the year because everybody's on 16, right? So basically, as the years have gone on, I've put little stock in the 16 messing with golfers' psyche, especially when I'm picking DraftKings players and stuff like that. Now, the reason I used to think like that is because, the reason I used to think that golfers needed to be mentally prepared to play this course is how sticky the course history is. Top 5 stickiest course history on tour, year in and year out. Now, normally you would think that that's because of the craziness that goes on, and only a certain amount of golfers are used to that type of craziness year in and year out, and they play. But, it's one hole. I think the stickiness comes from people just like this course and play this course well over and over again, just like course stickiness makes sense at other courses. I would just stick with that same type of notion when you go about it this week, and not put too much emphasis on if Billy Horschel is going to get pissed off at people on 16. Now, he might. He might. He might be one that I might worry about a little bit, because we've seen him have issues on this hole before. But I'm not putting too much stock into the craziness affecting the golfer's psyche. Okay, I'm just not going to do it. So let's get to the course. The stadium course, TPC Scottsdale, 7,266 yard par 71, 4 par 3s, 3 par 5s. All the par 5s are reachable in 2 by the majority of golfers, and the 17th hole is a risk-reward drivable par 4. This course is above sea level. So, all the par 5s are like 560, 570, 580, 590. You add the altitude, bombers can hit driver 9 iron, driver 8 iron, on to some of these par 5s. It's going to happen. So again, you might want to have some guys who can hit it pretty far. It's not going to hurt on this course at all. Now, the course is redesigned by Tom Weisskopf after the 2014 event. He was hired to make the course tougher, so he added length, made landing areas on the fairway smaller, added bunkers, and reeded the greens. It looks like he did his job. I mean, you're looking at like 13 to 18 is the winning score here. And the thing is, usually weather-wise, it's fine here. It's the desert, but there can be wind sometimes. We'll see. We're not going to see wind like Sunday at Pebble, but there can be some wind, and a little bit of wind here can definitely make a difference. Just because this course is like not a cakewalk. It's not super easy now. It's not like majorly difficult, but it's somewhere in between. A nice middle of the road golf course, probably one of the more difficult TPC courses out there. How about that? Now in the previous 5 years before Weisskopf's redesign, the scoring average was like 36 best on 36 on tour. So really easy. Really, really easy. After the renovations, it's around the 25th right now. Easiest course on tour. Now, one thing I've noticed in the time since the redesign is more elite golfers have started winning this event. Like, I don't think anyone over 50 to 1 has won this event since like 2015, 2014, something like that. It's been 50 to 1 or less for every person that has won this event. Now, we could see that could change this year. We've seen 5 straight 100 to 1 or better numbers out there win. So, it could be different. But what we've seen over and over and over again here is, you don't see too many outliers win this event. It's been a while, at least, since somebody in triple digits has won. Now, off the tee, golfers are going to see narrow landing areas with bunkers placed strategically. Even though this tournament is played in the desert, water is still in play on 7 holes, and the golfers miss wildly off the tee. They're going to have to deal with desert vegetation. The rough around the fairways has been thicker the last few years. I expect that to be the same this week, though it won't be as thick as what we saw like the last few, like Torrey, stuff like that. Even compared to last week, there was some higher rough on Saturday at Pebble, mostly because of the rain and stuff like that. Once again, the course is set at about 1,200 feet above sea level. Drive should go farther than normal. The course is routinely in the top 5 hardest fairways to hit on tour. Much of this has to do with the fact that this is a driver-heavy course. As you'll see, this is as heavy of a driver-heavy course as you'll see on tour outside of maybe the majors. On approach shots, golfers are going to see a wide array of green sizes, ranging from small to very large. Overall, the square footage is more than the tour average. Bunkers guard the majority of the Bermuda grass greens. Now, it's Bermuda grass overseeded with Poa trivialis. It's not Bermuda. Okay, guys? If you're looking at putting split, this is not Bermuda. Do not look at Bermuda. Do not look at Poa, because this ain't Poa Nua. There's Poa Trivialis, bent grass. It's velvet bent grass, and dormant Bermuda. So this course, Valspar, Heritage. Those are the three courses that have Bermuda overseeded with Poa. So if you want courses for putting, those are the three, or those are the two, plus the one that we're playing this week. Don't use Bermuda as your for putting splits, because it will not. This ain't Bermuda. This ain't sticky. This ain't that sticky tacky type Bermuda. This is smooth carpet, pretty easy to putt type of greens. The greens are, and so this course is one of the easiest on tour to put on, especially from 5 to 10 feet. The greens are relatively flat, which helps, though they are usually firm and fast. Stim meter rating of around 12. We've seen shitty ass putters win here. Great ball strikers, but shitty ass putters have definitely won here. Golfers with weaker short games should rejoice, as getting it up and down from around the greens is not the most difficult of propositions. Of the last 11 winners here, 10 of them had a top 5 in one of their, actually, hold on. Of the last 12 winners here, 11 of them had a top 5 in one of their previous 5 events leading up to their victory at TPC Scottsdale. Tambo, what are you looking for in golfers this week, my friend?
Well, I'm looking at a couple things, but you talked about a lot of the stats and everything that goes with it. You talked about the course history. I mentioned today on the first look I do with Degenerate 75 over on the, it was on his YouTube channel this week. We rotate back and forth each week, but he said a good point there, and I thought about it too, like just the course fit setup here. Like we were talking back and forth, like course history gets brought up by everyone, but it has been similar. You'll see those guys pop up, but it's just this type of course. I think you said it, Kenny. I've talked to you about it in the past. Like even those years, Billy Horschel, I was there. He was freaking out on 16, finishes 9th or 6th. Like the guy still comes through. It's just he doesn't like that hole, and he puts up with it because something else about the course clearly fits his eye or goes his way. He suits the course. It makes sense. We have course fit rankings over at Shiba Nation. They've been good. I'm going to trust in those. But the one piece I did want to talk about is two things. One, the withdraws. We got Hovland, who didn't make the pool, withdrew before. Xander, who withdrew after the fact. So when we get to the tiers, there's only JT at 10K and Scheffler at 11.6. After that, it's Homa at 9,800 and down. So there's the Scheffler effect that we're going to talk about. And then also weather. Like, again, I looked because I'm going there for my trip. I'm dealing with weather here where I'm at right now. Tons of snow. I can't wait to get out of it. What do I go find out when I look it up? Looks like rain the whole way. Wednesday, some rain. Thursday,
Really?
rain. Friday, rain. It's early in the week, but that's what you're seeing. You're seeing low temperatures for Arizona. For the desert, you're seeing 40 through 52. Like, depending on the time of day, that's pretty cold for out there. Now, I'm excited. Warm for me.
40 to 52? Yeah, that's fucking freezing for fucking Scottsdale.
Yeah, so Thursday, for example, right now, if you go look at Thursday, again, it's only Monday, but just to note
The rain sucks because I thought Lowry was going to be my sneaky ass play this week.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it. Like
That guy sucks in the rain now.
So it's like, yeah, there's going to be stuff. Maybe Aaron Ride, 2 gloves. But you got wind.
I do like Rye.
Rain. I mean, it's not much, but it's enough. And then 48, 48, 52, 48, 50. Like, the temps.
See, here's the thing. I don't even know if Lowry's shitty overall in the rain. I just remember that one fucking event.
Yeah.
What was that, like 3 years ago? Like, he was in the lead with like 2 holes left, and it just started downpouring.
I was at the Honda. Now, the Cognizant Classic at Palm Beaches coming up very soon.
And he lost it all. That's all I remember. I mean, he could be great in the rain, but that's the only thing that fucking sticks in my mind. I think I might have had money on him. And that's why it sticks in my mind so much. Go ahead, Tam. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I think it was Sepp came and got him, right? Keith Mitchell was waiting.
Something like that, yeah.
And Sepp, Lowry's drive went nowhere, and then it just died for Sepp, and Sepp just pounds it out there and is good to go. Yeah, it's the way it goes. But either way, the reason I bring it up is just because typically in the past, we've seen this place play very fast, firm. Like you see that stuff just roll. I remember the most disappointing tee shot ever. And 17, by the way, if you're going, and I'll be there, but it's a great spot to hang out on 17. You're still kind of in the party atmosphere, but not completely immersed in it, and getting ran over and dealing with a bunch of bullshit. And you're getting to watch all these tee shots off that can, guys going for the green or leaning out to the right side.
I'm going to need, Tim, I'm going to need titty pictures. I'm going to need some titty pictures.
If I see any, I'll get them for you.
From 16, going to need some titty pictures. Going to need, definitely going to need that. Going to need video of like the drunk people. I've seen some crazy drunkenness at this event. Like, I remember one time I was watching this video of a guy literally walking at like a 45-degree angle. Like, he was walking, but like his like he was like bent like this with his head like over here and his legs here. Walking like I've never seen people get that drunk. I don't understand how people can get that drunk. Like, I get drunk.
It's what I told you though. These are the people. I swear to God, this is legit. They show up at midnight from drinking and start waiting in line. So people are already drunk. That's what the first year I got
some drugs to get through the day. I would say that. You have to. Like, if you're getting to an event at midnight and you've been drinking and you don't start watching golf till 7 a.m. and you have to stay for 12 hours. I mean, you got to hit DJ up.
Well, that's the girl that I put. The tweet that goes around is this girl that's like slamming beers with gloves on.
The white girl. You got to call the white girl up. Yes.
So yes. I have the video. I was standing right next to her. One of our friends that we were with.
I used to stand next to her all the time myself.
Yeah. So this girl, I'm going on to my story here. This girl was slamming them, and that was like she taps the 2 beers, downs them, throws them onto the course behind her on 16 as the first tee shot is going down. So the video, you can go check it on my X account at Toe Tag and Tambo. She slams the beers. The beer bottles land as the ball is about to land. The first tee shot of the day. She was done like 2 hours later, not even an hour later, maybe an hour later. She was done. Overloaded, just done. She had to go. Bye-bye. Everyone was cheering her on.
You gotta DJ it up. You gotta DJ it up.
You need something for that type of day.
Yeah. If you're gonna be there for that fucking long and drinking that hard, starting from the day before, shit.
But
my ass would die. In my 20s, that shit would have been a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah. I was gonna say Sahith Theegala a couple years ago. Remember, we thought he had this win. He was playing so good. I still don't know how
blow on the course?
Bounced into the water. What's that?
You did some blow on the course?
No, I'm talking about the shot, Kenny. Get back on track here.
My bad. My mind's on different things.
Hit that tee shot on 17 that looked so good until it just hung a left and went into the water, and it was game over. It was like, what the hell just happened? Like, he was fine. The shot looked fine.
2 years ago, right? We finished 2 years ago.
He finished third or something or whatever it was. I can't remember. But the point is that's like the course plays like that. You see the greens super fast. You see all these things. And if there's going to be rain daily leading up and rain while they're there, you could see the course play softer than usual. I'm not saying that changes a bunch, but then I'm saying the greens would slow down some, and situational stuff where you start seeing that score go a little lower than usual. I think it is a little bit different player pool than what you would expect right now, sort of just the standard stuff that you're used to. So I don't really remember the last time this course played soft at all. Like the last few years, I mean, it's always the same way. So just an interesting note to throw out there, maybe a different angle of approach for this week. So
what do you think that's going to affect? If it's really soft, then let's say this lift key place again. Like we saw last week. Who do you favor? The Bombers? Probably.
Not necessarily, but I was going to say, I just threw it in the Discord before we hopped on. Someone was saying, I'm looking for a reason to fade Scotty Scheffler. It's a good segue into the upper range. Since there's only 2 dudes. Scotty Scheffler, 11-6. Justin Thomas, 10. Scotty, you could play Scotty Justin lineups and
Xander's
still have
out there too.
Who?
Xander.
He WD'd. He's out.
I thought Hovland WD'd.
And then Xander. Yes, that's what I'm
when
saying.
Did Xander WD?
Yes. So either way, my point being, the reason I brought that up is because it almost reminds me of what I used to say about Will Zalatoris. Where did I not want Will Zalatoris? Now, I know Scotty's the back-to-back champion. It's totally different. I'm saying when someone said to me, I'm looking for a reason besides just ownership. Well, you could play Scotty and JT and still have 7,100 left over. Meaning, if you just cancel JT in that situation, it's very easy to play Scotty lineup. So Scotty might get the 35% plus in the large field stuff. When you get to higher dollar, smaller field, the $200 single entry, stuff like that, you could see a 40% Scotty, 40 to 50 even, yeah, for sure. And the smaller the field gets, you could see 70. Like in a 10 or 12-man qualifier, you could see 70% Scotty, no problem.
So even if he's number one in your model, number one in Sims, number one in everything, if he's 70% owned in the GPP you're playing, are you playing?
What I'm saying is, how would you look for a reason to fade him? I was going to say that it brings me back to the Will Zalatoris days, where when you're paying a premium price and you need all those birdies to go down, then that would be the angle of approach on this, where you could at least feel good about it. It's never going to feel good fading Scotty in a tournament. He literally just won back-to-back years, and he's still playing incredible. It's that I'm saying that would change it a little bit versus If it's fast, firm, and as usual, and the reason he won the last couple of years, and the can't lay in the playoff and all that stuff, like that makes perfect sense, because obviously the setup is that he's the best ball striker in the world, and it's not close right now. And the field is got much weaker when Hovland and Xander are not in it. Certain other guys didn't show up. All these other factors.
Also, the amount of strokes that he gains on these greens compared to his baseline is pretty ridiculous. Now, of course, it's probably about 2 or 3 outlier rounds, but I mean, that's probably all Scotty needs. You know what I'm saying? To get up there in here. So he putts well on these greens, and his ass is the ball striker extraordinaire. It makes it very difficult to fade him. But if he's going to be 40%, and like you said, the conditions aren't what he is normally used to, which might not matter at all. He can go out there and fucking ball.
He's still Scotty Scheffler in this game.
Exactly. But it's a little wrinkle, you know what I'm saying, in there that can give you a reason to fade him. I like that. I like that, Tambo.
And one quick note on that putting thing, because you brought up, we also just had this conversation in our Discord. It's a good one. Is I looked it up, and it's just a tidbit, so I don't care. But it was cool, just the back and forth on it. It actually wasn't really necessarily super outlier rounds. He actually gained 10 of his last 12 rounds here. So the obviously to win tournaments, you got to putt well. I get that.
I was just guessing. I was like,
10 of the 12 rounds,
he's not
he putted well.
So I figured it's not consistency. It has to be like outlier rounds. But
the second point was that you got to remember, though, he was also putting really well before he wasn't. Remember, like, he wasn't putting. He wasn't always a bad putter. It just sort of turned one day and then almost never looked back. And now we got to just hope for these rounds. But at one point, he was a solid everything. And he also wasn't, he was always an excellent ball striker. I'm just saying he's been off the charts over this last year and a half, but he hasn't had the putter with him. Hence why all those seconds and thirds, and we're saying he should have literally won multiple tournaments that he didn't. That's golf. It happens. But just to note that as well in the putter. But give me your takes up here. Scotty, JT, and then you got a full 9K range.
JT's my first cash game cornerstone. Course history here is great. The guy's been playing exceptionally good golf. He's going to win sometime soon. I took him at 14-1, 18-1. I took him at whatever number I took him this morning. So 13-1. I got Justin Thomas at 13-1. He's my first cash game cornerstone, no doubt. 10K, good price. I'll go ahead and take him. Now, if you go down to the 9K, my favorite play probably on the board is Sam Burns. I'm really curious to see how his ownership stacks up, because when it comes to stats and shit, he's like, what is he in my model? He is 55th out of 132 golfers in my model. So not very high, but again, one of the better putters on these type of greens. He's won twice. Didn't he win Copperhead a couple times? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Valspar, back-to-back,
Valspar,
right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it wasn't back-to-back. I think it was back-to-back. Yeah, back-to-back years.
Yeah, and so, he knows how to putt on these greens. He's coming in with a nice, solid 10th place finish last week, top 10 last year at this event. I really, really do like Sam Burns, and he's long enough where if the weather does come through and he has to hit a little bit farther, top 20 driving distance in this field, he can give it a good poke. So I do love Sam Burns. Favorite GPP play, probably going to be my highest owned in GPPs. I'm hoping he's sub 15%, but we'll see. Now, my second cash game cornerstone is going to be in the bottom of this range. It's going to be Wyndham Clark at $9,000. Third win in his last, 10 months. I think, he's used to celebrating. I think right now, confidence is sky high. If you look at his finishes, he usually, whenever he has a high finish, he usually backs it up with another one. Sometimes it's like a couple of week heat streak. Usually comes down for Wyndham. He finished top 10 here last year. I think he's third in my model. Iron game strong, can putt his ass off, long off the tee. Not the most accurate, but not the worst out there, like a Sahith or somebody out there who just can't even hit the side of a barn sometimes. Good, well above average, mid to long iron play, crushes par fives. Give me Wyndham Clark. I'm not worried about a hangover. The guy's this is his third win in the last 10 months. He knows what he's doing. He's 30 years old. He's a grown-ass man. He ain't a fucking kid no more. So I don't care about the hangover. I'm going to go ahead and play Clark as my second cash game cornerstone. Tambo, who do you like in the 9K range?
Yeah, a couple guys up here. One, you talked about Thigala, and this is another point that James brought up today that I thought was pretty interesting, and it was that him and Spieth seem to play well at similar spots. And if you do think about their game, they do have that setup of like they spray it off the tee, but then they figure it all out with their creativeness and the putter and all that sort of thing. So Theegala doing quite well at this course the last couple times, third, 39th, not bad, but now priced up. But Spieth is only $300 or $400 more, and Spieth pops in the course fit rankings for us over at Shipping Nation. So I've got interest in him. 6th, 4th, 9th, 7th. Some of his results here this course, stats wise, he's fine. And then you look at the fact of, just what he's been doing lately. Before this past week was whatever. He didn't come through, but there was another round to be at. Who knows what would have happened if he played that last round on a day where you could see him sneak through and maybe get a top 20 and we'd be talking different stuff here. He came 39th, but before that, 3rd and 6th. So I like Spieth. I like Sungjae. I'm always a Sungjae truther, so I'm going to be in on him. So probably Burns, Spieth, Sungjae, Theegala would be like the 4 guys that pop early for me, at least here. People I think are mentioning Fitzpatrick. He's got a 10th and a 29th here the last couple of years, but I'm going to stick strong to those other 4 guys for right now.
I think I might play Cam Young this week. I think I might do it.
What's the take?
The thing about it, but like from 175 up, you're going to have a lot of approach shots from 175 to 200, 200 plus at this course with the par 3s, with the 3 par 5s. You're going to have those 200 plus. You're going to have a lot of drives from 170, or a lot of tee shots from 175 to 200. His iron game is not great, but those are his 2 best proximities: 175 to 200, 200 plus. If it gets rainy out there and it doesn't get the roll, his ass get pounded out there farther than every other human being almost on earth.
Yeah, I don't necessarily love it as much, but I
no one's going to play him, right? What do you single-digit ownership, right?
You'd have to think it's got to be low, yeah.
Yeah, got to be single-digit ownership. I think I don't mind using him as some type of leverage play against somebody who is going to be popular in that 9K range, maybe either a Sungjae or a Spieth or a Burns. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the risk this week.
I think just a quick note on that too. I think Young and Clark, both, you liked Clark quite a bit too. They both should be low owned because we're going to get into it. I'll let you take it away. But Poston down to Hadwin, Poston and Benny Ann are popping early as candidates for higher ownership here in this range. So Poston obviously just been doing his thing. You could talk about that, but like Benny Ann pops here at 8,800, and then some of the guys in the lower 8's fine. But I do think there's a potential those guys in that sort of Fitzpatrick, even maybe Sungjae, Young, Theegala, Clark, all that range before Poston could be lower owned. So if you like Clark and Young, you should put those guys in your lineups. It's automatic leverage.
Yeah, I agree. Going down to the 8K range, Tambo, I mean, are those your guys or what's that?
I noticed them pop right away. Like Poston and Benny Ann are going to be 2 guys I think get pretty popular. Poston's been on a tear. 5th, 6th, 11th, 20th. He's been fine here. Last year missed the cut, but before that, 11th and 23rd. Stats-wise, he pops. Like everything's going to be fine for him. So I think these guys will be the popular ones. Tom Kim, Eric Cole, and then Adam Scott, who I like too. I'll talk about him later. So Adam Scott, I'll talk about right now. Actually, my angle on him is what I always say, Kenny, and the field actually got even worse when you talk about Xander and Hovland bailing. But I like Adam Scott in fields that aren't as strong. And I know what a lot of people were leaning on to start the week was that there was 6 of the top 10 in the world here and blah, blah, blah. But first of all, 2 of them are out, like Hovland and X. Second of all, it drops off a cliff after that to me. We know all these guys and we know we can make a case for all these guys, but I still like Scott. And Scott was before last week, I think he finished 20th still, but it was 5th, 6th, 4th, 7th. And also he only really played here a year ago or the year before last and got 38th. It was like whatever. But this field, I'm more than fine going to him at 8,300. You've got the course history truthers, Hideki and Ricky, who makes sense. Hadwin playing in the desert, always pretty solid. So off the top of my head, I think the bottom looks a little bit more appealing. Go back to the well on Cole. Play Adam Hadwin. I like him. And then if you want to play, Fowler, Hideki, one of those guys, Tom Kim, someone in there, I think you got your tournament plays that you can get behind that won't have much ownership at all. So I actually like the lower 8K range more than the upper, even though Poston and Ann pop off the page. Pretty obvious.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead with my third cash game cornerstone. It's going to be Adam Hadwin. He has desert golf is just sort of his thing, right? I mean, 6 at the MX. You consider that desert golf here. I don't think he's missed a cut here in forever. This is going to be like a course history pick, and his form's not horrible. 39th at Pebble, 6th at the Amex. Missed the cut of the Sony, but 14th in the Century. Pretty good fall. We only played once. We finished second over at the Shriners. Again, that's in Vegas too, I think. Desert Golf. Again, right? Once again, Desert Golf. So the guy plays well in the deserts. I don't know, you guys Canadians love this other type of golf. I'm going to go ahead and play him. If you just look at his numbers, his iron game has been fine. It's been no issues at all, and he's been out there scoring fairly well. I'm probably going to go back to Decky. He played really poorly last week. I had him as my highest own in GPPs. Still, not the worst. I think I got like 70% of my money back in GPPs last week, but I did have like 30% Wyndham Clark. I think he was only like 8 or 9% off, so that definitely helped. But I had like 45% Decky, so it could have been a lot better if I just avoided him. But I think I'm going to go back to him. I'm hoping for lower ownership. We'll see how it plays out with his course history and stuff like that. But, the guy, ball striker supreme, plays this course well throughout the years. So I think I can get back on him. I don't know what to do with Eric Cole.
I think he's fine.
What?
I think he's fine. I think it was I think it's another good course for him. I think it's what you said. It was like a blip on the radar. He bounced right back this past week. He could have done more in the last round. Who knows? But he was back in the mix. We'll see what his ownership looks like, but he got the price bump, right? He goes all the way back up to 8,500. So I don't know. And when you think about, okay, Poston, Ann, Hideki, maybe Scott, maybe definitely Hadwin, I think. Like just where I'm thinking some of this ownership go, maybe even Corey Connors, the ball striking angle. Like that would make sense. So I think Cole kind of gets just left there as at least kept in check, which makes him more appealing to me. So it's not like he's going to be completely out of control, I don't think, at least as of now. So I'm okay with this thought process we've got going here at the moment.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking about using him. I'm thinking about using him in cash. The only hesitation I have, of course, I don't think he's played here before, but that's not even that big of a deal. We've had golfers come out here, play this course for the first time, play well. I think Koepka won the first time. Rahm's been out here, played well on the first time. Now, he's not on that level, but, the guys been playing really, really good golf for almost a year now. Now, the issue is just looking over his numbers. Like, driving's probably the worst part of his game, I would have to say. Probably the worst part of his game. And we see a lot of guys out here who are good off the tee, who perennially do well at this course. You see a lot of guys who either can hit it far and hit enough fairways, or hit enough fairways and hit it far enough. Eric Cole really doesn't do either. He's not very accurate. He's not very long. So that's the only issue I have here with it, because this is such a driver-heavy course. So I worry about that. We'll see. Right now, I have him in my cash lineup. I can't say it's going to stay that way. Like, if you had your pick, Tambo, from 8,700 down for cash, go with.
You already got Hadwin, though.
I already have Hadwin.
Yeah, probably Decky.
I was thinking Adam Scott.
Yeah, well, actually, I like Adam Scott more. I bet both of them. I bet Scott and Decky this week. So I'm in on both those guys.
I don't even know Scott's history here.
Like I said, he played it 2 years ago, got 38th. It is what it is. He never used to show up, because what does Adam Scott do? He only shows up at the big boy events, and then on his private jet, never talks to nobody. Like, he's just that dude. And then what ends up happening is everyone said, oh, Adam Scott's a loser. He always comes 28th. He sucks. Why would you play him? But they forget he was always playing against the best of the best at the absolute hardest courses. And then he would get to the weaker field events and he would show up because that was the setup. It's like he's way better than the guys out there around. I'm not saying necessarily anymore. This was more back in the day than what we used to see. But if you look, even this past week, I actually had it up here. Where was it at? Round 2, gained solid on approach. What do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 birdies and an eagle, a streak, only 2 bogeys, nothing serious. And then in the round 3, he gained heavy again off the tee, on approach, tee to green in general. 4 birdies, bogey-free round, left 3 of the par 5s out there where he just couldn't make a putt. He lost almost half a stroke putting. This is just a play on the price and a play on the situation. So I'd go him or Decky.
I think I just shifted from Cole to Scott in cash. So there we go. Why don't you go ahead to this 7K range, Tama?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's hard to get a good sense of ownership or what people are going to cling on to here, but it definitely looks like the upper 7K range with guys like Siwoo, Harmon, Denny McCarthy, all these spots where people might go. But what I will say is if you are going the route of like Scotty no matter what, and just let me get different, like I saw someone tease that out on Twitter today, was saying, I'm going to play Scotty, and then it's just Scotty +5 this week. The lineup should come preloaded, basically, is what they were saying. If that's the case, then you got to mix it up down here, and so it's fine. Like, yeah, there's going to be some guys at 10%, some at 12, some at 5. You can get your leverage different ways, especially if you're going heavy on Scotty. So for me, just off the top, like Norin looks good, Harmon looks good, Denny McCarthy looks good. I actually wonder about Berger if he's healthy enough and good to go. He seemed fine. The last what did he end up doing? I know the first round out wasn't the worst, but what did he end up doing? Miscut the second time out, but back in the day, he would play pretty well at this course. I know it's been a totally different situation now, but I would take a shot in GPPs, Griot, maybe Harris English. Like, I'm not playing all these, I'm just giving some ideas, but the ones I liked were the first ones I mentioned up top, like Norin, Harmon, McCarthy, and then maybe Berger. That's sort of the 3 or 4 that stood out early on in the week here.
My favorite play up here is Akshay. I always say his name wrong. I think it's Ashtray, but whatever. Akshay is my favorite play. He's going to be one of my highest owned here. He's not the best iron player, but he's gained something like 8 strokes with his irons in his last 2 recorded events with strokes gained. His best quality is off the tee. And if you're a baller off the tee at this course, it's usually a good first step. The thing is, like, he's long and he's not like inaccurate. He's pretty fucking accurate for as long as he is. I think if you look in the last 50 rounds, I mean, he's probably the longest and most accurate when you combine the two in the whole field. And he crushes par 5s. That's going to be big this week. I really like Akshay. I bet him, I think 50-1, but I took 8 places. You could probably get him like 65, 70 without the places. So I really like him. Probably one of my favorite plays right behind Burns this week for GPPs. Love these two guys. Detry, the guy's just been playing really good golf. I mean, he's just top of the leaderboard, week in and week out. It seems like it's close. It took, I know Feinberg calls him the European phenom. It took Finau a little bit of time to get that victory after that first one he had in Puerto Rico, which, many people don't even count because it took so long to get a second one. I think he's viable this week, definitely. Detry. Who you like in this bottom range?
Some of the guys early on, Kevin Yu, I might just be done fading this guy. And he can really, to me, he almost, it's like, I'm not comparing these guys, but just to know what I was saying earlier on Spieth, one of the points I wanted to make on Spieth, if I didn't make it earlier, was that he kind of showed up no matter what in this situation, even in his bad years, things like that. Like, Spieth was still playing good at this course, still fitted, could do different angles. Whether it's good weather, bad weather, I'm okay with Spieth. Spieth can make enough putts if it ends up being rainy and wet and less fast and firm. But Kevin Yu, I think, kind of fits the same, but might get even better if it is a little bit less fast and firm, right? Like, he could definitely fire at pins, he can score, he can get hot with the putter. You just have to hope that he does. And so guys like Hoagie, him, maybe Taylor Montgomery can make enough putts in this range. You talked about Billy Horschel earlier. The Ship It Nation crew wants me to talk about EVR no matter what. EVR has been on a tear for his last 8 events. So if you want to go to him, that's up to you. Aaron Rye, if you think it, again, I would probably like Aaron Rye more if it was fast and firm. I know people say 2 gloves. I'd rather it be wet and rainy, but nothing really to do with that. I just don't think he's going to make enough birdies. So if it's going to be a higher scoring event, I would actually be okay with him. Michael Kim has been playing some good golf, and of course he gets the Mayo bump. If you guys haven't checked that out, this is a show on the.
That was a great show.
Really
Real
good show. Great guest. Ton of respect for him, just going on and talking about anything and everything. Just love to see that. So that was nice. And then Kuchar is another guy down here at 7,000 that we can go to, I think. So Kuchar,
one of the better putters on these type of greens. Same with Taylor Montgomery. Pretty good on these type of greens. My final cash game cornerstone is going to be Mark Hubbard. Again, came in 4th last week. The guy's playing exceptional golf. Really good course history here. For that cheap, just put him in my cash lineup, no problem. So my cash game cornerstones this week are going to be Justin Thomas at $10,000. Wyndham Clark at $9,000. Adam Hadman at $8,000. And Hubba Hubbard at $7,400. It leaves you well over, I think, over 15,000 maybe. Yeah, probably close to 15,000 left to finish off the rest of your lineup. I think I can go back to down here in this lower range. I like Tom Hoagie. Kevin Yu makes a lot of sense again. I got no problem with that. And I like you, and I like Ryan, and I like Luke List. Proven winner now. The guy can win out there. He could bomb it off the tee. His iron game well above average. Actually comes 5th in my model. Really good with his long irons and his mid irons. Crushes par 5. Can't go wrong. I don't think you can go wrong with Luke List. Maybe a sleeper Ekro at 7,000. I like the way his driver is. Strokes getting off the tee. Really, really solid. Top 25 in this field. He's been playing some pretty decent golf. Again, one of the best from 175 to 200 and 200 plus. So I like Ekro and GPPs. For 6K, I'll just go ahead. I'll break it down. I mean, Sam Ryder right there on top. One of the better putters on these type of greens, these Poa Trivialis Bermuda blends with the dormant Bermuda. He putts well on those type of situations. I do not mind him in cash. He's made a bunch of cuts at this event throughout his career. Really, really do like Sam Ryder down here. He is my favorite play. JJ Spawn seems like another guy who could be slightly underpriced, really good with his long irons, hits a ton of fairways. You either got to hit a ton of fairways to be long or be both at this event. When it comes down to it, Justin Saw, another guy who hits a good amount of fairways and is not short. Long irons are strong. I'll go ahead and play a little bit of Justin Saw. Grayson Murray, I don't mind him. Tambo, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, Murray's got decent course history here, but it's not really. Like, he's just... I guess I shouldn't say that. He's made cuts here if you want to play him, and obviously he's playing a lot better lately. He won, so you could angle it from that perspective, but I like your Ryder call. I like Nate Lashley. I like Doug Gim. I like JJ Spawn. I guess after that, you're kind of just, going off of whoever you like down here. I don't want to play too many, but that would be some of the guys that stand out. Maybe Grayson Sig there over Grayson Murray instead. $100 more, you get Sig, but I don't mind some of your calls that you had. I think you're throwing darts down here, and it's a way to get different within your Scotty lineups too. If you want to come down here, Martin Laird, Marty Laird. I know Mayo's going to bring him up because you play him at this course and in the desert, but he's been very bad lately. So maybe he pops out of it when he gets here, but I don't see too much down here that I'm excited about. That just makes me think those 7Ks and the guys in the 8s that we talked about, like Poston and like all these guys are going to be the popular plays, at least early on. It is Super Bowl week. It is sort of one of those weeks where you could just see people play similar dudes. The Scotty ownership is going to be up there. So got to keep an eye on that. We'll have you all covered over at shipitnation.com, but that's all I got this week, Kenny.
All right, that sounds good. My bets for the week. I went ahead and bet Justin Thomas. I got him at 13-1. I went Sam Burns. I got him at 22-1. I got who did I have? Batia. I got him at 50-1, but I got 8 places each way. And I got Hubbard, 8 places each way at 75-1. Tambo.
I got 3 guys that you were talking about quite a bit that we talked about that 8K range. 2 and then one other. I got Hideki at 40 with 8 places. So there's better numbers, but I want 8 places because I don't feel like he's the same decky, so we'll see. But Hadwin, 50 with 8 places. Scott was the other one, 50 with 8 places. Denny, 70 with 8 places. And then Baroff got me to bet this one. He's going to be filling in, by the way, for the Genesis pod next week. So shout out to Baroff. I always appreciate him doing that. I will be traveling back from Arizona, so he'll be on here with you, Kenny. But he sold me on the Scotty Rom double at 34-1. And now, obviously, Scotty has dropped because Xander and Hovland both out of the field. So don't hate it. Maybe it's another way. But, man, Rom was very pissed off after not winning that event last week. Maybe he can go out and get the job done in Vegas. Maybe not. But it's a good way to get exposure to Scotty here this way as just another angle. So Scotty Rom double, 34-1.
Sounds good. Why don't I go with JT or Burns?
Yeah, I was thinking JT or Spieth, but I don't really want to burn Spieth, so I might just go JT.
All right, that sounds good. You can find me on X at KendoVT. You can find my article on gupscorner.com. Use promo code Kenny. Save yourself 30% on a sub. The new green screen, the new tools, the new user interfaces, so much easier to use. These things are great. Ownership projections, everything that Gup has. He is the master at it. Come join the fam. Get 30% off. Use promo code Kenny. Tambo.
Yeah, ShipItNation.com. We talked about at the top of the show, the sponsor. You guys can use promo code Mayo, get 10% off. The PGA package has been crazy. Go over to X at ShipItNation. Follow us there, free to do. Follow the YouTube station at ShipItNation. You can go there. But the week, like I said, was just another huge PGA week. We've got low prices, affordable on the PGA only stuff if you only want to get in on golf. And you can use Mayo to get an extra 10% off. So hit me up if you have any questions or need anything, but I'll take care of you.
So we got multiple party holes this week. Well, one in Phoenix, one in Vegas, and we got the Super Bowl coming up. Should be a great weekend. Let's win some motherfucking money. DJ Nation.
I've been getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort. Stacking penny stocks while I'm flipping these birds. Sipping on Ciroc, trip 'em up with the words. I done popped the Molly and I think it's be my third.